Once upon a time, two retired teachers decided to convert their garage into a pottery studio. Along with their daughter and son, they built a business around the idea that the world could use a little more art and a lot more artists. We're the Kaya family. Welcome to Wocky Pots. Hi everybody, how you doing? How you been? How are things? Shane and Diana here with another coffee time at Wocky Pots Studio. This is number 53?
Yes, 53.
Awesome. What are we going to talk about this week?
Well, we'll go over last week, which was New Year's.
Right. Happy New Year, everybody.
This week that just finished. And so we really didn't get started here in the studio until, I guess, was it Thursday?
Just a couple days ago, right.
Yeah,
we have not been busy for the past full week.
No, we were still on holiday until New Year's Day was over. And, of course, we had our good luck meal for New Year's Day.
That's right. Family tradition kind of thing. Round about these parts, most people have black-eyed peas or collard greens as a New Year dinner. We didn't have that this year. Instead, we had the traditional dinner from my family, which is pork and sauerkraut, and it was absolutely delicious.
Yes, the house smelled really good that day.
Right, it sure did.
And of course, I think that was the day. Were you helping Carolyn that day?
Yes, so that's the day we were working on the piano. And we'll show pictures of that. You're probably wondering what a piano, what the heck is that all about? I'll show you some pictures of that. But Carolyn refurbished an old toy piano for a relative of her boyfriend James, and we're going to show you that. But she gave it to her as a gift, as a birthday present,
and she absolutely loved it. It's phenomenal. I just in amazement at this little piano.
It was a hit. So anyway, the pottery studio wasn't really in pottery mode for several days there. It was in furniture restoration mode.
Yes. And I came out one time and I was like, "Whoa, that smell!" And I went right back in the house.
Our venting system is not sufficient for the task when it comes to prolonged spray paint.
Yes. But it was just too bitter cold to do it outside because unlike last weekend when you were taking motorcycle rides because it was 60 some degrees.
It was 40 degrees colder than that.
Yes.
It's 20 some degrees Fahrenheit and way too cold to spray anything outside.
Yeah, but we did manage Thursday and Friday to get in the studio, or I have managed to come in and make some things. You made a couple of things, but you spent a big bulk of your time that you came to the studio working on Reclaim.
Right, and I kind of have a goal to get that out of the way so I don't have to think about it anymore. And what I mean by that is I have small quantities of some of these kinds of clays that I just want to make some projects with them, and then I don't have to touch that clay again. And you want me to go ahead and talk about them real quick? So these are all the different kinds of clays that I reclaimed in the last week. Now, I don't have large quantities of any of this except for our standard 112 and our Sheltoey Brown. These two clays will continue to be the normal staples that we use here in the studio. We love these for various reasons, and you've heard us talk about them often enough that I don't really need to talk about it too much. But these, I've reclaimed maybe 20 pounds of Sheltoey and maybe 30 or 40 pounds of the standard 112, and we're going to be using that for some of our classes, and also I'll use them on the wheel because it's the right consistency for that. I think they might have a little too many air bubbles to use for slab building, but we'll see. I might be able to get some of the air bubbles out. Now, the other clays that we have, I still have about 10 pounds of this Psyop Black. This clay fires to an almost coal black when it's at cone 6. So it looks very pretty, but glazes don't really like this glaze. This clay. It shrinks quite a bit. So this is not something we're going to keep around normally, but it's going to look really pretty when it's done. I also have maybe 15 pounds to 20 pounds of leftover raku clay, which we'll use pretty much only when we're going to be firing stuff in the raku kiln. And that's not going to be a big thing until the weather warms up a little bit. Then we also have some of our Iceman. This is our white Cone 6 clay that is very versatile. We can use it for a lot of things, but we just don't have much of it. And then we got about 20 pounds of porcelain left over from that original 50 pounds that I got here in the studio. And as you know, I usually don't call this porcelain. I usually call it stupid porcelain. But I'm going to put that on the wheel and make some fantastic little things out of it, or not. We'll see how it goes.
And you know, I don't know if I told you or not, but in our order to the ceramic shop, we have 250 pounds of Iceman.
Yeah, that's because we need a white clay that we can have in the studio. And right now, Iceman seems like it's a good mix for us.
Right.
That has a grog in it. Does it? Or I believe it does.
I'm
but
not
it's
sure.
Not
it
colored.
can come with grog or it can come without, but I can't remember. But it does hand build well, so you can use it and I can use it. The only problem is all the other darker clays will contaminate it, and it will contaminate them.
We have to keep everything strictly segregated,
Everything
which is why
has to be cleaned really super well.
and that's why you don't see me with all of these different clays on one board, because we do have to keep them very, very separate, especially this black clay and the white clays. They just really, really contaminate other clays. So I wanted to show you guys this stuff and understand that some of the next things that I'm going to be making, I'll be making small quantities to get rid of this reclaim, and maybe I'll be doing some hand building, maybe I'll be throwing on the wheel, who knows. But this is all the reclaim that is currently ready to use here in the studio, in addition to our normal bagged clays that are, haven't been opened yet, the Sheltaway Brown and the Standard 112.
Yes, and I'm very curious to know what you're thinking of the porcelain this time around.
Right. So I've had several months, a year probably, of making things since the last time I tried the porcelain. So I'm gonna really give it a go this time.
Yeah. So while you were busy doing those things, I was making a few things in the studio. I think one day I made 10 and another day I made 11. I didn't get a lot done, guys, but anyway, I at least got started again.
I think she got a lot done.
So, but I did do some more garlic graters because we'd been out of garlic graters since sometime way back in the summer.
And you changed your design up a little bit for the garlic graters.
I did, so that it is not as sharp, because the thing is, yes, you want the garlic to be able to grate on it, but you also don't want it to take off the skin off somebody's fingers. And some of my designs before I felt were just a little too sharp. So I used a little loop tool this time, and I pushed down and then pulled back, and I just kind of went around in a circle and radiated out, so that it'll be nice. People will be able to grate their garlic, and then if they want to use it for a bread dipping, they can just pour their olive oil right on in.
And that's what I was going to say. Your new design is more bowl-like.
Yes, and it's a little bit larger so that it can do that.
Well, I can't wait to see this. It's very different from the last one that Diana made, where it was made just for grating the garlic. This one will actually be a vessel that can contain olive oil and herbs and stuff, and you'll be able to serve right from the vessel that you grated the garlic in.
Yes, and of course you're going to be making some bottles, because
that's right.
I got the little, whatever it's called, that goes on the top of the bottle so you can pour the olive oil out.
Right, the little nozzle that goes in the end of the bottle. And that I'm looking forward to that, because you know how I love to make bottles.
I know, that's what I was thinking. So when I went to the olive oil shop and got our rosemary oil, I picked up that little top thing.
And we'll give it a shot and try it.
Yes. And I did do, the same day I did the garlic graters, I did several, I did some triangle shaped ones, and I did some round ones, little ring dishes, just small little things. And I love this little filigree texture.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Just like that. And then, of course, before you see what looks like a forest of trees, but it's not. It's not trees. It is a colony of mushrooms.
A happy little mushroom colony. These are going to look so good when they're all glazed up and displayed. I can't wait to see them.
And it's really kind of funny because, you know, our friend Audrey in Canada, she had a how-to video just recently on making mushrooms, and one of the things that she did that we didn't do previously on our own mushrooms is she had the little ring that goes around the mushroom. And I was like, when I looked at that, I was like, oh, I love that. I've got to do that. That's a great idea. Well, you know me. I have to research things. So I turned around.
Knowledge is power, you guys.
Look, here we are.
So she has a diagram, and I will show a closer diagram of this.
I'm sorry,
but
guys.
This is the anatomy, general anatomy of a mushroom. So she was going for anatomical correct.
I did, instead of just the whimsy this time. So I carved on the inside the actual gills of the mushroom, which is where the mushroom spores are produced and stored. And so those little gill flaps in there give it more surface area so they can have more spores, so they can reproduce more of them. But that little ring that she put on, I was wondered what that was for. Well, lo and behold, it is a little piece of tissue that before this cap developed, it was covering this whole thing up to protect the cap and the gills until it was fully matured. And so after it's no longer needed, it kind of peels away and gets left in this little spot here of this little flappy bit of skin.
Well, I can't wait to see how these are realized with glaze and everything.
I thought it was interesting.
Fantastic.
Yes. And right down to the fact that I looked up and I know that Oregon is known to have the largest colony known of a mushroom, and it's a honey mushroom. There's the Latin name for it, but I've already forgot that. But it's the honey mushroom, and basically they're connected to the ground with these little mycelium things that look like roots. They're not really roots.
Right, similar to roots, but they're not roots.
But they interconnect with all the other honey mushrooms in that area, and they actually cover an area of 3.5 square miles.
Wow, that's huge. So that's the largest known single organism of a fungus on planet Earth. It's not the largest known organism. I believe that's a forest of aspens somewhere, I think.
Yeah,
but it's the largest fungus organism, largest single organism.
And that just, it kind of blew my mind. So, you know how you often get off on tangents? I get off on tangents a lot when it comes to knowing the little minutia.
Tangents are fun. We love tangents.
So anyway, so that's pretty much what I made this week. But I enjoyed making them. They were so much fun. And Audrey, I'm so glad you did that tutorial because I just loved adding the ring to it.
Yep. Well, I cannot wait to see those. It's going to be really, really great. Yeah. So not a huge week for making things. Diana made a lot of stuff. I did some prep for making. Yes. But it was still a fairly busy week, even though Christmas happened within the last week.
2 weeks.
Right? 2 weeks, right? Yep. Christmas and then New Year's in the last week. That's what I meant. We still got a lot done.
We did. We had, we did get our sign-ups out for our homeschool clay class. So we got that out. You ordered and it came in, the printer. Right,
we have a new printer, you guys. So printer ink has got to be the largest scam on planet Earth. We've ordered a new printer that takes bottles of printer ink, and on the packaging it says, how does it say 2 years worth of printing or something
like
that? Which means we'll get at least a month out of it.
Eco tanks or something, so it's supposed to be better for the environment because you're not using all that little packaging up all the time.
And all the plastics. So we're anxiously awaiting that. We're going to get that hooked up. And of course, the first things we print probably won't have anything to do with the studio. They're going to be character sheets and maps for Dungeons and Dragons because we've recently started playing that again.
Yes, and we've been having a good time with that. Christopher is enjoying it.
Right.
The other thing, believe it or not, we had our first class of the year.
That's right. Yesterday we had a mug class in here, and it went fabulous. There was only one person participating.
This was a special private class, so...
And it was it went really, really great. We had a couple of folks in. They were here for a couple hours, and the student, 6th grader, got to make a hand-built mug, and she also worked on the wheel for a couple minutes, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we'll show the picture of what she came out with because it she did a wonderful job.
Right, it was a hand-built mug with a sun on it. So when you see the pictures, you'll know that's the one she made. It's a hand-built mug with a sun.
Yeah, it turned out really great. So, well, let's get ready to share our challenge and our highlight.
Yep, good idea. You want to go first?
I will go first. I have a challenge, guys. I am a perfectionist.
That's not true. That's not true. Is that true? That's not true.
You know it's
very true.
It is. And my perfectionism really sometimes can cause some issues. It can cause me to procrastinate because I'm very afraid of failing at something. And without you, I probably would never start.
Oh, that's not true.
I would dream about it and think about it, but you just go ahead and start it. So then I have no choice but to go ahead and do it. And so I kind of need that push from time to time. And I know this past week, we have been hoping to go ahead and get the Etsy shop started. But I got all hung up on, it's got to be the right banner. It's got to be the right picture. It's got to be the right this. It's got to be the right that, instead of just getting it done.
What's the saying? The perfect is the enemy of the good.
Yeah. Right. So that's me. And then, of course, also it causes me to sometimes not listen to you.
I'm sorry, did you say something?
So, yeah, bless his heart. He really sometimes has a lot to put up with.
That's okay. It's totally worth it. Totally worth it.
Yeah, but I am sorry if I haven't listened this week.
That's perfectly okay.
I get in my own mind and my own narrative is rolling, and somehow
That's all right. It was a great week. We had a good time doing everything we did, and that is definitely a challenge. But it's not something that I think you're going to have a hard time overcoming. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I just have to keep pushing through, or I need somebody to push me through. And so you guys too, if next week rolls around and we're still not able to say, we haven't started at least opening a shop yet on Etsy, please drop us a note that says, hey, Etsy shop.
So Diana's a perfectionist and I'm a mistationist, right? Because that's, man, I can screw up so many things. That's your challenge. My highlight is really that thunder snow that we had just a couple nights ago.
That's amazing.
So a couple nights ago, we had a weather event that I don't know that I've ever experienced, ever.
I know I haven't.
It came upon suddenly enough that it really felt like a tornado had dropped down on the house, because it went from no wind or very little wind to this huge gale of blustering wind, and at the same time it started snowing. And I mean snowing a lot, like flakes the size of my hand were falling down. Mm-hmm. And it was a flurry of snow, and we heard thunder in the distance, and bolts of lightning were striking across the sky while it was snowing, in this huge gale of a wind. And it did not last for very long, but boy howdy was it an impressive show of nature's fury for just a few minutes. So I'm calling that a highlight, because I don't think I've ever seen so much weather in such a short span of time.
It's true. And it's funny because some of that snow that fell is still on the ground.
Right. We have a little bit of snow in the fields across from our house and in our yard. And that's relevant because tonight we're supposed to get a lot of snow. And here on the eastern shore of Maryland, we don't get big snows very often. This will be the biggest, largest accumulation of snow that we've had in several years. Yes. Our kids probably don't remember ever a snow that is going to be as significant as the one we're supposed to get. Right. The weather sources are claiming now 9 to 12 inches of snow at our location. I'm not saying that's what we're going to get.
Right.
But right now the consensus is that we're going to have more than a few inches of snow.
So that'll be very nice. And in fact, Christopher is going to be putting the pot out in the yard to collect the snow so that we can make snow cream.
It is a local delicacy. Folks on the Eastern Shore here apparently used to do this quite a bit. They gather up clean snow by putting out empty pots before a snowstorm. Yeah. Then the snowstorm comes and fills these metal pots up, and then they take them inside and they make a kind of ice cream using the snow, and it's sweetened condensed milk and
a teaspoon of
vanilla,
and then about 8 cups of snow.
And we're gonna try it. And we're gonna see. We have made it before, long time ago, but I'm sure this will be the first time that Christopher's ever had.
Yeah, because it's been so long since we've had that much snow.
A significant snow.
Yes.
Now, one thing you can't do though is you can't go out and collect snow for this. Like you can't go out and take a shovel full of snow and use it to make snow cream, because you never know what's going to be in that snow.
Right. And stay away from the.
And then there's
snow.
the fiasco, the 1967 lemon flavored snow cream fiasco. That was horrible. People still talk about that.
But anyway, we are very excited for the snow that's coming in.
Right, so that's our highlight.
Yes.
One bad thing, though, is because we don't have to commute by road to get to the studio, our commute is only 18 steps. We can't really call off working in the studio because of weather.
That's okay.
But that's okay. We're upper management. We can make that call on an as-needed basis, right? As needed.
Yeah. So this week, I think you said you were going to finish that kick wheel.
That's right. And I'm going to show a picture of it to you. Diana and I got the ancient kick wheel into the studio today. We had to turn it sideways so it would fit through the door because we didn't want to raise up the huge garage door behind us. So we turned it sideways and brought it through the actual door. And it is seriously heavy. It's 8,000 tons at least. I know. It's so heavy.
I don't think it's that much.
It's probably 3,000 tons. I'm going to take a couple pictures of that and show you, but it's right off camera to the right now. It is perfectly usable right now. If I sat down at it, I could totally spin something out on the wheel right now. But it is my intention to remove the rust and paint it, and then replace the ancient plastic seat that's on it with a metal tractor seat that I have. But it is definitely going to be used here in the studio very, very soon. And although it's big and it takes up a lot of space, I think it's going to be a useful tool to have around.
Right. The other thing I would like to get finished this week are all of our commissioned pieces.
Yeah, we've got a stack of commission work, the requests that people have specifically called for. Mm-hmm. We want to get those done, out of the way, and finished. One of those commissions is actually a set of cups that was partial payment for the ancient kick wheel that we have here in the studio.
Well, that one is probably not going to be able to happen until we're able to get the Iceman, because that
we need
has
larger
to be,
quantities.
Yes, than what we have. I don't think we have enough Iceman to do those. But the other things we do, so we can do the other things. And I know we need 2 more horses in the raku. We have one already, but we need 2 more in the raku for that. And then I have some plans for some other things to do too. Don't know if I'll get to them or not, but we're going to see.
That's okay. We're going to try. So we've got the commissions and a couple of new things that we want to make. And
you've got to paint the kiln wash. You've got them all cleaned.
Yep, the kiln shelves have been scraped and they are ready to take a new coat of kiln wash. The kiln wash is a chemical compound that we put on top of the shelves so that if glaze drips down, it doesn't stick to the actual shelf. We can pull it off, and the kiln wash will help keep it separate so it doesn't wreck our shelves. Even though we do that, we still have shelves that are showing signs of wear. I've got several shelves that are starting to show cracks through both sides of the shelf, and that means that it's time to replace those. The kiln shelves are about $120 per layer of kiln, so we don't just want to buy those on a lark. We kind of have to budget for those. A full set of kiln shelves for the kiln is a substantial investment.
Yes, definitely. So, but other than that, and the creating the Etsy shop, because there's a whole list of things that goes along with that besides just getting it there. You've got to get verified and all this. So at least if we can get the first 1 or 2 steps in, it'll be a while before it would ever open, but we could get the process started.
Right.
So I'd like to do that this week, and then pretty much I want to enjoy being snowed in.
Yeah, we're going to open those curtains wide and keep an eye out on the field, and
I'll
it's
put a
going to be great.
puzzle together.
I cannot wait to see our stupid dogs go jumping through the snow. They've never seen snow like this before, and they're going to freak out, you guys.
Yes.
Except for the poodle. The poodle's not going to be happy at all, but the other two big dummies, they're going to love playing in the snow for sure.
Pippi's gonna look at that, and it'll be taller than she is. And Juno is such, bless her heart, she's gonna sit and just cry.
She'll be very nervous
She's
until
so
she
big,
sees
she's
Luna
such
go
a
bounding
baby.
across the yard. Then she'll enjoy it.
And then they'll come in and get all warmed up.
Yep, fire in the fireplace. That's
Yes,
the thing.
we've got wood ready, so we'll be ready for that. So, and hot chocolate.
Of course. In fact, this is hot chocolate, you guys, because we're already in our pre-snowstorm prep mode.
Yes, and we'll be having a nice big pot of homemade vegetable soup this afternoon.
Vegetable soup.
Just certain things that kind of go with snow in our minds. So, anyway, but I think that takes care of the coming week. Hopefully I haven't forgotten anything. But if I did, I guess we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Hope you guys had a fantastic and fun-filled new year. Hope your 2025 is every bit as glorious and fun as 2024 was. And I guess we're about ready to hang it up, aren't we?
Yeah.
All right. Until next week, toodaloo, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Take care. See you later. Have a fantastic day no matter where you're at. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.